Well, there it is from Jared Greenberg. If you take a close look at Ja Morant leaving the arena with a visible limp, did not take any questions from the media. So let's welcome in Jared Greenberg, who put this investigative tweet out last night. And also Smitty is on set now. Ja Morant, again, limping after Game 3, that recent recipient of the Most Improved Player Award. Also, like you said, Jared, did not speak to the media following that loss. So what do we know about the extent of Ja's injury as of now?
Hey, Chris, unfortunately, that's really all we do know. Taylor Jenkins, after the game, did not give out much information. They said he's going to undergo further evaluation. As of the latest injury report that's put out every hour on NBA.com, the Warriors and Grizzlies have not yet submitted their injury reports for Game 4. So we will wait. The Grizzlies will have a media availability later on today in about 3 or 4 hours from now, so we hope to learn more at that point. But really what took off last night, and again, we'll wait to see Ja's status, but was the back and forth, this drama that escalated. It started with Taylor Jenkins in his media availability after the game saying that he felt that Jordan Poole pulled and yanked Ja Morant's knee. Moments after, and I literally don't think it was 30 seconds after I took that video of Ja walking out the arena, he must have been sitting on the bus, he tweets out, retweets the play in slow-mo and says, broke the code, clearly trolling Steve Kerr, who accused Dillon Brooks of breaking the code. Remember, he got ejected after a flagrant 2 in game number 2 and then got suspended for his play. The Grizzlies all then came to the defense of Ja Morant when they came to the podium. The Warriors, as you would expect, came to the defense of Jordan Poole, their teammate, and you know, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson all said that there was nothing malicious about that play. Jordan Poole, in fact, said that he was just trying to make a play on the ball. But Smitty, you know, you were great at this in your playing days. It feels like right now the Warriors may be in the head of the Memphis Grizzlies, and there's a whole lot of gamesmanship here, Smitty, going back and forth from Game 1 with Draymond being ejected, Game 2, Dillon Brooks being ejected, and now this incident here in Game 3 between Jordan Poole and Ja Morant.
You know, Jared, great point. I'm glad you brought that up. And obviously, when you have these type of series as far as talent and young versus old, that's where experience comes in. And even handling something like this adversity, you cannot let this be something that distracts you in your locker room from either side. Warriors has been there, and this is where the Memphis Grizzlies, you know, from the president, general manager, basketball operations, all these titles, coaches, you got to focus this back on basketball. We don't want any injuries at all, you know, from any of our players, whether they're star players or not. But I think when you start getting caught up in talking to the media, trying to win the media, that's when you're going to lose focus. And just watching that play, I don't know when Ja Morant got hurt, whether it was when he got grabbed, but I also saw early in that game he took a knee to Klay Thompson. Then there was a knee, even on that play with Jordan Poole, if you watch right here. Really doesn't matter. I think right now both teams are trying to win the media. And I think if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, you got to come out and just play. You're playing up against an experienced team that have been through a lot of different situations. And this is where you're going to have to learn. And I also know back in my day, breaking the code, Jared, the code was if somebody knew you was injured at times, nothing I would say lower, but if it was fingers, shoulders, you know, even that jump ball, we had guys try to grab your fingers, try to hit your shoulders, try to hit you wherever they thought there was an injury to try to win the game. Nothing malicious, I would say, as far as going after your knees, but I would say any other ankles and everything else, toes, you got stepped on.
Yeah, you know, Smitty, when you mention all of those things, and I think about how they've played out throughout this series, and the fact is GP2 is out with his injury, right, for a month or so. They would have to get to the finals for him to come back. And you think about Dillon Brooks missing time, being suspended. Jared, it seems as if a situation that's escalating, is there any point that the league would step in and maybe try to handle this before it does escalate too far between these two teams?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how much the league could do at this point. You know, I would imagine that the officiating would be pretty tight, and you know, we for Game 4 tomorrow night. But Taylor Jenkins said that he would get together with his general manager, and they would consider submitting the play to the league. But keep in mind, this is a very common practice. Teams submit plays almost after every single game to the league office. And I'm sure the league, being that this is a high-profile playoff game, will take a look at it anyway. But like Smitty said, this particular play, it's very different in slow-mo than it is in real time. And you have to keep in mind how fast it happened and the fact that there was contact, incidental contact, with Jordan Poole's knee and Ja Morant's knee just a hair of a second before Jordan Poole made any contact with his hand and the knee. So, let me say this too, just for some perspective, if people are going to get on this conspiracy theory wagon. In the NBA playoffs, for the first 4 games of every series, the officials are predetermined before every series. So whoever is on the officiating crew, when that is announced at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning, that was determined before this series started. Now, for games 5, 6, and potentially 7, that's when the officials are determined as we go based on who has and who has not refereed this series. But I would imagine there will be a tight leash tomorrow night, just in terms of the intensity that has been displayed on this court over the first 3 games of the series.
Yeah, and like you said, we haven't heard from Ja Morant. There was also that clip of Ja Morant and Klay Thompson knocking knees during the game as well. Well, over this Splash Brothers run, turnovers have been their Achilles heel, what do you want to say, almost a decade now, right? They only had 3 in the second half of Game 3 as opposed to the 14 they had in the first half. How did the Warriors limit those mistakes in the second half of Game 3?
Chris, it really is amazing that we're still talking about this. But I think, when you've seen a team over the years that plays at times with the pace and the amount of shots they put up, the amount of ball movement they have, it's some people want to say it's almost a product, the turnovers are, of that. And sometimes you could deal with that. But it's a team like Memphis, and we even saw it in the Denver series to a certain extent, that when you're able to capitalize on those turnovers, and that's what we saw in the first half of last night's game, was Memphis making the Warriors pay for those turnovers. But I think what we have to keep in mind here with the Warriors too is, we're now 8 games into the postseason, and Steve Kerr is still tinkering with his starting lineup. Now, obviously, last night was a product of an injury to Gary Payton, but they've now had 33 different starting lineups throughout the course of the year. This is a team that, yes, has veteran leadership, championship experience, and Hall of Famers, but they're also trying to put in the youngest starter in the history of the playoffs last night in Jonathan Kuminga, who had 2 early turnovers, which is why you saw him get pulled out of the game quickly last night. But I would say, one of the things, as it's Mother's Day, I asked Steph Curry about this the other day. Remember back early in his career, we made a big story about paying a fine to his mother for every turnover he had. He used to give her $200 per turnover. He said that's long gone. That check doesn't cash anymore. But he said now, worse than having to pay the fine, since he doesn't have to do that, is after the game checking his phone and being embarrassed by the text messages he gets from his mom for committing those careless turnovers. So I would imagine it's something that they're going to certainly today in practice try and talk about and clean up. But I would imagine those double-digit first-half turnovers is going to be a big theme this afternoon. Yeah,
the pride of Southern Virginia. She was a Radford graduate and also a Virginia Tech graduate. So on Mother's Day, some trivia for Steph Curry's mom. Jared Greenberg, we appreciate you chiming in, covering those Golden State Warriors and Memphis Grizzlies. And look at these numbers, Smitty. Are you kidding me? The Golden State Warriors, first team ever, second team ever to shoot 60, 50, 90 in a playoff game. 76ers in 2001 when Allen Iverson dropped 52. Only other team ever to do that in a game. How did they get that done? I mean, you can say, okay, it's the Splash Brothers, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, all these guys. But really, the execution had to be the key to that, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's why they have so many turnovers at times, because they are so much movement, ball movement, player movement. But it's all those ingredients. First, it's the Splash Brothers, their ability to shoot the basketball, and also they have quick releases, and they also move without the basketball. Let's look here right now. Let's also see they have 4 guys above the three-point line offensively. No communication by the Memphis Grizzlies. As you can see, Wiggins gets an easy dunk. Next one right here is, look at the ball movement and people. When Draymond downhill, Jaren Jackson comes over and easy dunk again for Kuminga. Next, Steph Curry, freeze it, pass it. Don't stand. Get out there and replace pump fake, best move in basketball, because you have to go for it because of Steph Curry. Another, Jordan Poole, the old Utah action. set a screen. Don't just lay on the screen. Well, next time I'm going to slip it. Because of the three-point shooting, Morant couldn't get over there easily because that's a long run. And then just watch Klay. This is vintage Klay Thompson. Comes off screen. Oh, doesn't have a shot. Use the pump fake. Keep moving, Klay. Keep moving. The Memphis Grizzlies fell asleep. And that's how you shoot those percentages. What's still impressive, whether there's nobody in the gym or not, they're not getting a lot of dunks. They don't have Shaquille O'Neal on their team where they're throwing in the paint. They're getting easy dunks, and they're not having a Shaquille O'Neal where they're getting double team. He's getting double and getting those guys easy shots. It is ball movement. It is backdoors. It's triple handoffs. And they're going to have some turnovers because Draymond likes to throw to a spot before his shooters get there.
Counted up 142 points on 64% shooting. Smitty, I see your face when you hear those numbers in a playoff game, in a tightly contested game in the sense of two teams that really want it to be able to put 142 points up and win by 30. Incredible.
Been there, done that. That's the Golden State Warriors. And then you have the experience. And then I think just their camaraderie, their team, and also what they practice. They keep you moving. Most teams, most guys playing defense right now, you guard the first action. You feel like a defender right now and you're watching the NBA, you're done. With the Golden State Warriors, if you don't have communication, you don't have guys that can think on the fly no matter what your defense is, because they're going to mess up your defensive philosophy because you can't talk about switching. You can't talk about a guy moving without the basketball. You have to stay connected, I would say, as a team and also verbally to be able to guard the Golden State Warriors.
Now, that's a great team effort by the Golden State Warriors. Let's switch to Boston and Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee got the win by just 2 points, survived several buzzer beater attempts by the Celtics, but it was Giannis who really joined elite company. Only 6 players in NBA history post-merger have ever put up 40, 10, 5, 2 steals, 2 blocks in a game. Giannis joins that club.
He is a bully. That's basically what it is, Chris. He is, I'm coming downhill, and I'm going to make you have to pay. And then you're going to have to meet me at the rim and challenge. And what's making him better and better is because you can't just foul him because he's knocking down free throws. Then his speed and relentless. Now he's getting a chance to pass the basketball. He gets his little shimmy shake right there. But you have a guy right now, as we know, is unstoppable in the open court unless you can build a wall. But now he's saying I can beat you with the pass. Then also if you foul me, I'm going to go to the free throw line. I've gotten better there. And then I think for him it's all about winning. And then you just don't have anybody can match that type of size, strength, and speed of a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think Al Horford, they're doing a good job. But then he's getting other guys easier shots.
Well, for Boston to counter that production, it was Jaylen Brown that got closer, but Jason Tatum, absolutely off night for him. 4 for 19 from the field, 0 for 6 from three-point range, just a single rebound in 41 minutes on the floor, healthy, feeling good. How did the Bucks slow him down to that extent?
Well, they're doing a nice job. First of all, they have a front line behind him with Bobby Portis, Giannis, and also you look at Brook Lopez, but Wesley Matthews is doing an unbelievable job of just making life hard for Jason Tatum. I mean, it comes down to Jason Tatum. Next step for him is how can I impact this game without scoring sometime? And I think that's going to be assists, that's going to have to be rebounding, that's going to be defending, that's going to be a decoy at times. But he's going to have to find a way because they still had a chance to win this game, even without his offensive productivity. They still was a one-possession game down at the end.
You know, we had Chris Haynes in our previous segment. So you showed me his stand-up where he was laying down with the 76ers thought they were down and out.